Chuck Schumer has been in the Senate for 672 years but he's still just a normal guy. He's a normal guy. He hasn't lost touch with the average man. He is an average man. He's an everyday American, as the politicians would say. To prove that, he did what many politicians have done before him. He posed for a picture in front of a grill. And this photo op went about as well for him as it has for every other politician. So many politicians have tried this exact photo op, and somehow they fail at it. It's the simplest thing to do, you would think. You also don't need to do it. You don't really gain anything by posing in front of a grill. We're not actually impressed that you know how to grill. Like, we know you probably don't know how to grill, but even if you did know how to grill, it wouldn't change our perception of you at all. But if you're going to do it, you would think, have someone on your team who knows something about grilling. It's not a difficult subject, and have them look it over real quick before you post it. But they don't, so they always fail at this. So yesterday he tweeted, we have the tweet, don't we? Okay, here's a tweet. Our family has lived in an apartment building for all our years, but my daughter and her wife, of course, just bought a house with a backyard, and for the first time, we're having a barbecue with hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill. Father's Day heaven. First of all, before we even look at the picture, we've already got so many problems. No man, Father's Day heaven. What kind of man would ever say that? What kind of man is standing at the grill, grilling up some burgers and dogs? This is Father's Day heaven, I tell you what. All right. So how many problems do we have in this picture? We kind of have to narrow it down, because the whole thing, leaving the creepy expression out, he looks like he looks villainous somehow. He looks like what are those hamburgers made of? Is that human flesh? I mean, he looks like he's doing something evil with that grin, but we'll leave all that stuff out. And even the burgers themselves, I don't know what color. Those look like they've been sitting in the fridge for 3.5 weeks. Don't eat those burgers. That is not what ground beef is supposed to look like. It's not supposed to be gray. What is it, like brownish gray? It should have like a reddish tint to it. So don't eat those. Those things, those have been sitting in his fridge since he first got into the Senate 672 years ago. Anyway, but we won't even talk about that. So there's like 4 big problems here. The first problem is that only one burner is on. So you got it. What you kind of want to do is you want to turn all the burners on. You can actually so you don't have to. I don't know if he doesn't know this, but you don't have to use one burner at a time. That's not how it works. You can actually use all of them at once, and it's a lot more convenient that way. He also, what else do we have? So the hot dogs are done, and the burgers are raw. The burgers are very raw, and the hot dogs are already done. So he's timed this terribly. What you want to do is you want to put the burgers on first, because the hot dogs cook a lot quicker. It doesn't take long for the hot dogs. You're not even, they're already cooked. So what you're doing is you're really just singeing them, right? So you want to put the burgers on for a couple of minutes, and then you throw the dogs on, and then you could and if you're only doing 6 of each, you should be able to get it all done, time it perfectly. This is some people who really grill. We pride ourselves on the time. It's all about timing with grilling. So that's a problem. The burger's raw. He's already flipping it. Like, what are you flipping it for? It's not cooked at all. So he looked down at that and said, well, that one's done on that side, flipped it over. But then the biggest problem of all is the burgers are raw, and he's got cheese on it already. He put cheese on a raw hamburger patty. Even if, look, I know he said he's lived in an apartment all his life, really explains a lot. He's never had a backyard, again, really explains a lot. I actually think to be a man at his age and to have never had a yard at all, like that does, it warps your mind. It does something to your brain. I really believe that. To live in a city apartments your whole life, it has this warping effect on the human soul, I believe. So, and you could say, well, he's admitting that. So let's not be too hard on him. He's kind of admits in the thing that this is the first time he's grilled. So fine, but even if it's the first time you've ever done it, maybe you don't know how to turn the burners on, maybe you don't have the timing down perfectly, we can understand all that, but even then, wouldn't you know not to put the cheese on a raw hamburger patty? What's the plan here? When you flip that burger over, the cheese is going to land on the grate and just going to get stuck to the grate? Like, what do you think's going to happen? You think you grill the cheese too? Have you ever had a cheeseburger? Even if you've had one, you should know this is not how it's done. It's infuriating. It really is. Anyway. So that's 4 strikes against him, and he will now be, according to the law, deported for this. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.